Hi, this is Billie Beene here with another segment of Truth by Billie Beene. Today's date, October 11, 2024, time in Texas, about 3 p.m. I'm going to begin with some breaking world news. And we have this, just happened a few minutes ago, has been confirmed with multiple sources, including Hal Turner. That Iran has been hit with a massive software cyber attack that includes their nuclear facilities, infrastructure, power, water, cell, and so on. And that is ongoing. And we have this also happening in Israel, that yesterday Israel's war cabinet okayed Israel retaliating against Iran. And they're waiting 2 days for a holiday period, Yom Kippur, to occur on Friday and Saturday. So it's believed they may launch an attack, a kinetic attack Sunday. It appears that they may have already hit Iran today with a massive cyber attack, and it's being reported that all the software and 3 branches of Iranian government, judicial, legislative, and executive, have not only been hacked, but the information has been stolen. So that's going on. And now we have this. Yeah, the attack includes nuclear facilities, also fuel, water, transportation, ports, plus. And we have this from an interview on Redacted with Colonel Douglas MacGregor, a retired Army colonel, that thousands of U.S. citizens are currently trapped inside Lebanon. We know Israel has been attacking Lebanon. Israel began their ground attack into Lebanon about 7 days ago. It's understood that they have penetrated inside Lebanon 2 kilometers, and that Israel is sustaining heavy damage. It's being reported that Israel continues their ground invasion into Lebanon, and they have also continued bombing Gaza, where 45,000, some sources say, 500,000 Palestinians have been killed, and 70% of which are women and children. Now, it's curious that Iran just a few days ago signed a defense agreement with Lebanon, Syria, and Syria includes the Golan Heights. That legally is still part of Syria. Also Iraq and Yemen. Iran also has a military alliance with Russia. Inside Iran, we understand, are thousands of Russian technicians there to operate Russian air defense systems. We understand that in the past 24 hours, Iran has put on their launchers, both ballistic and tactical nuclear missiles. So that's going on. So Colonel Douglas MacGregor reports thousands of U.S. citizens are trapped in Lebanon, and that, and then he gives some information on what's going on in Russia. So we'll get to that. Now we have this. We also have multiple sources, including WERX, reporting. We know in the U.S., we had Hurricane Helene, who has destroyed many states, including Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee, and Kentucky. Especially hard hit is western North Carolina and eastern Tennessee in this area. And then we heard FEMA say they were out of money for hurricane victims. And we had that refuted by Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, that Congress approved immediate funding, emergency funding to FEMA in September. That's earmarked only for American citizens, but FEMA says they're out of money for American hurricane victims. And we have seen and have reported not only is FEMA withholding aid and search and rescue for American citizens, but is actually blocking other American citizens trying to render aid. We see in North Carolina and other states, constitutional governors and sheriffs standing up to FEMA. Now, within 24 hours after FEMA announced they didn't have any money for American citizens who were victims of hurricanes, KH blatantly said publicly on TV that the United States was happy to send $157 million to Lebanon to help the civilians there. So we see an evil and corrupt U.S. Dem government, nothing for American citizens, send all the resources to foreign nations, or give them to the illegals the Dem government has been bringing in since 2021. So that's going on. Now, we have what's going on in Ukraine and with the U.S. and Russia. We have this. On October 5, the Russian ambassador, really the Russian embassy in Washington, D.C. was closed. And the ambassador, Anatoly Antonov, closed the Russian embassy in Washington, D.C. All personnel left, and the Russian embassy took with them all communication gear, all cryptographic equipment, classified documents, and all diplomatic and security staff. The Russian embassy in Washington, D.C. is closed. This is what nations do just before they go to war with a respective nation. And we have this. So that happened on October 5. So we have October 11, October 12. There's some variance in the time. Germany, there's a meeting going on in Germany that would be at least 7 hours ahead of us. NATO, it's believed NATO is to okay Ukraine using long-range missiles, UK Storm Shadows, U.S. ATACMS and other long-range missiles to be fired from Ukraine into Russia. Russia has said if this happens, then Russia will consider the originating nation, if it's UK missiles, then they'll target UK. If it's US, then they'll target US. And what they're going to target will be U.S. bases currently located in Poland, Romania. We have some in Belgium, Netherlands, Turkey, also Finland, not a base, but we have troops. We have nukes, U.S. nukes currently in Finland. So that's going on. It looks like this is going to get hotter. And we had in the past 24 hours, Lithuania destroy a bridge between Lithuania and Kaliningrad, a Russian enclave. So we see that happening. Now, Colonel Douglas MacGregor talks about Russia, talks about the Kursk offensive. That was 2 to 3 weeks ago. Ukraine took its best trained combat troops off of the front line here, sent them inside Russia to take over the Kursk nuclear power plant. We understand the number is 20 to 40,000. Russia has been reporting that they have neutralized 20,000 troops in this area, and that it's composed of Ukraine and NATO troops. So that's going on. And then once Ukraine pulled a significant number of their best trained troops off the front line to send into Russia, Russia now is meeting little resistance and have moved well inside to about the midpoint of Ukraine up to the Dnipro River. It's believed Russia will take Sumy, Kharkiv, and Odessa, in addition to the areas they have already annexed. So that's going on. And Alex Christoferous reports the current Zelensky is Zelensky number 5. So that's going on. And now we have this. Yeah, we'll begin covering U.S. news. We had Milton. It was a Category 5 hurricane. Today's Friday. It came in Thursday to Florida as a Cat 3. Went across Florida and weakened to a Cat 1. That's still very significant. We did see storm surge in some areas up to 10 feet. Now, there were strong tornadoes just before Milton made landfall. Currently, Florida is reporting 20 deaths, 5 to 8 of which occurred due to tornadoes. So that's going on. We still have millions of people without electricity, and we have millions of people in this area still without electricity from Hurricane Helene. Now, Milton went directly across Florida and out into the Atlantic Ocean. So that's gone. We understand some parts of North Carolina may not have their electricity back for 2 years. That's due to the complete destruction of all infrastructure. Now, before Milton came in, Governor DeSantis of Florida had pre-staged 50,000 linemen. So that's going on. And they had pre-staged 26 teams for search and rescue, including Florida National Guard, and 3,000 National Guard from other states. So we see a governor who is concerned about his citizens. And we have this from Fox News. Storm surge 8 to 10 feet near Sarasota. So we would have Tampa and then Sarasota. So 8 to 10 feet of storm surge in this area is being confirmed. And we also have Florida National Guard, and Florida also has its own state guard, as does Texas. So that's going on. And now we have this. Okay, we also, October 10, October 11, we've had strong space effects. And those effects from space also juice up hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes. We had a G4, some sources say a G5 last night. KP index of 9. We had auroras across the U.S. and auroras were seen over to the Canary Islands. So we would have the U.S., Africa, Canary Islands, also Puerto Rico. So we see a strong geomagnetic storm took place last night. A very strong G4, some say a G5. It is still ongoing. It's now down to a G1 to 2 level. Auroras were seen all the way over to the Canary Islands and Puerto Rico. When a geomagnetic storm occurs, electricity travels through the atmosphere into the rocks and soil. Primary effect of this electricity was in the central U.S., the strongest effect. All of the U.S. was affected by electric currents in the atmosphere flowing into rocks and soil. And of course, it impacts communication devices, satellites, cell, ham operators, and so on. Now we have this. Okay. I had a Facebook friend who said a few days ago, so we have Houston right here. And along this coast is Brazoria County. That's where I live. And in an adjacent town, Lake Jackson, we had 2 illegals shoot 8 bullets into a vehicle with a father, a mom, and children. And this, the dad was shot. The illegals are now in custody. Now, I did find this on ABC News. This shooting took place in Lake Jackson, Texas on Highway 332, September 30, about 4:30 p.m., and a 30-year-old man was hit. So we see the illegals are operating in Brazoria County, Texas. We have this from JWTV, talking about a recent meeting of sheriffs, law enforcement. Get ready for an attack. They were doing an exercise. I'll link his video for you. And this took place in Harris County. Harris County includes Houston, Texas. And it took place in Tomball, Texas. That's adjacent to Houston today from 10 to 11 a.m. Yeah, so that's going on. And now we have this from InfoWars. The Department of Defense has modified Posse Comitatus. Posse Comitatus is a rule by which the U.S. military may not be engaged in domestic law enforcement. Now we have a change coming out from the Department of Defense. And the rule is 5240.01, effective September 27, 2024. The U.S. military may now assist domestic law enforcement, and the U.S. military in helping domestic law enforcement may also use lethal force. And this is against individuals and groups of individuals. And the purpose is to support civilian law enforcement. And it's believed this is being put in place by President Trump to assist domestic law enforcement. Now, we know we have in the U.S. 1.2 million CCP military. We also have Iranian military, and we understand some of the Iranian military have the objective to assassinate President Trump. So that's going on. Plus, we have terrorists from around the world. So it's believed this Department of Defense change, the Posse Comitatus, is to support domestic law enforcement and rounding up the illegals. And we see them on the, it's believed that they are under the guidance of the UN. It's the evil and corrupt current U.S. Dem government that's paying for these illegals to be in the U.S. And that all the FEMA money that was supposed to go for hurricane victims has been redirected to the illegals. So that's going on. And it's believed that this Dem government will try to activate these groups inside the U.S. before the election in November. Stephen Gardner interviewed the editor of Gateway Pundit, who's talking about a Dem plan to manufacture votes from overseas. The Dems are putting out that there are 9 million American citizens overseas who can vote. Gateway Pundit has researched this. According to the U.S. government sites, there are something like 4.2 million American citizens overseas, and only about 2.1 are eligible to vote. Now, the Dem has put this out that anyone overseas simply has to send an email to any state they select to now register to vote, which we know is illegal by all election laws in all states. But Gateway Pundit is putting this out, and the individual sending the email is not required to provide any information like driver's license, social security, passport number, nothing. Just an email with a name, and the individual says which state they want their vote to go to. Totally illegal. But that's going on. It's the Dem way. And now we have this. President Trump, according to the Washington Post, is now President Trump's security team is now requesting protection for him from the U.S. military, for President Trump to be transported on U.S. military planes and vehicles, and to have additional U.S. military as security, and that would go along with this Department of Defense change to Posse Comitatus. The U.S. government has briefed President Trump's team on Iranian plots to assassinate President Trump, and that the shooters are actively in the U.S., and that goes along with the intel that Steve Quayle had about 2 to 3 weeks ago. And now we have this. From Breitbart, President Trump is up 5 out of 7 swing states, including Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Georgia, and Nevada. And now we have this. NESSUM DORMA. NESSUM DORMA is an opera that's played at the end of the movie Sum of All Fears, when the deep state tried to put a false flag in place and make the and tried a nuke strike inside the U.S. to assassinate the president and blame it on Russia, but it was actually deep state. And Russia and the U.S. worked together to find the deep state parties at the end of the movie. NESSUM DORMA opera plays as we see the U.S. and Russia signing a peace agreement, and we see U.S. and Russian security going out to take care of the deep state villains. Now, recently, President Trump has mentioned NESSUM DORMA several times in his rally speeches. So the election is to be on November 5. Can it be that the election will be called for President Trump at dawn on November 6? And the ending words in NESSUM DORMA, at dawn, I win, I win. So it's good to be in prayer for America, the U.S. military, and world peace. I love you, and I'll see you soon.